You already know what it feels like. You close your eyes and your brain just refuses to shut off. The thoughts start rolling in. Work, relationships. That thing you said 3 years ago that still haunts you for some reason. You lie there staring at the ceiling, watching the clock move from 11 to midnight to 1 in the morning, and something inside you just sinks. Because you know tomorrow is going to hurt, and this is not a one-time thing for you. This is your life right now. I want you to know something before we go any further. What you are experiencing is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is not something wrong with you as a person. Millions of people are lying in that exact same darkness right now, completely exhausted, completely wired, completely desperate for something to change. And most of them have tried everything. The melatonin, the sleep sounds, the lavender spray, the chamomile tea, and they still wake up feeling like they were hit by a truck. If that is you, stay with me, because what I am about to share has genuinely changed how real people sleep, and it goes much deeper than anything you have probably tried before. But first, real quick. If you are someone who wants a truly structured and guided path through everything we cover in videos like this one, we do have related programs linked down in the video description. They go far deeper, they move faster, and the results people are getting are remarkable. But only check those out if you are serious about real change, because they are not for everyone. If you are happy just getting surface-level tips, this video is plenty. Those programs are for the people who are truly done settling. Now let me paint a picture of what bad sleep is actually doing to you. Because I do not think most people fully understand the depth of this. When you do not sleep well, your cortisol levels spike first thing in the morning. That is the stress hormone. So before you even pour your first cup of coffee, your body is already in emergency mode. Your brain is foggy, your emotional regulation is completely offline. That thing someone says to you that should not bother you suddenly sends you into a spiral. That is not a personality flaw. That is biology. That is what sleep deprivation does to the human nervous system. Studies have shown that people who sleep fewer than 6 hours a night consistently show impaired decision-making comparable to being legally drunk. Let that land for a second. You are trying to parent, work, make financial decisions, and maintain relationships while your brain is operating at a fraction of its actual capacity. And you have been doing this for months, maybe years. The weight gain, the anxiety, the low mood, the constant tension in your shoulders, the inability to feel genuinely happy even when good things happen, so much of that traces back to this one foundational thing. Sleep is not a luxury. It is the single most powerful tool your body has to heal, regulate, and perform. And when it breaks down, everything else starts to break down with it. Here is where it gets really important though. The reason most sleep advice fails people is because it treats sleep like a light switch. Just turn it off and sleep. But your nervous system does not work that way. Your body has to be guided down from the state of activation it has been in all day. Think of it like landing a plane. You cannot just cut the engine and drop from 30,000 feet. There is a whole descent process, and most people skip that process entirely. Your body runs on something called a circadian rhythm. It is an internal 24-hour clock that is deeply sensitive to light, temperature, timing, and behavior. When you expose yourself to bright screens at 10 at night, your brain genuinely thinks it is midday. It suppresses melatonin, the hormone that signals sleep, and keeps you biologically alert. This is not a willpower problem. Your brain is literally receiving conflicting signals. The people who sleep deeply and consistently every single night are not just lucky. They have built what sleep researchers call a sleep architecture, a series of behavioral and environmental cues that signal to the nervous system that it is safe to descend into rest. And you can build that too. Here is what that actually looks like in practice. About 90 minutes before you want to be asleep, the environment needs to shift. Dim the lights significantly. This is not about being dramatic. Dim light in the evening triggers a neurological cascade that begins melatonin production. Your brain is reading your environment constantly. Give it the right story. Temperature is one of the most underutilized sleep tools in existence. Your core body temperature needs to drop by about 1 to 2 degrees for deep sleep to initiate. Keeping your bedroom cool, somewhere around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, is not just comfort preference. It is physiology. People who optimize bedroom temperature report falling asleep faster and staying in deep sleep significantly longer. Now here is the pattern interrupt that most people never address. The content you consume before bed is loading your subconscious mind with unprocessed material. When you scroll through news or conflict-heavy social media an hour before sleep, your brain does not just forget it. It begins processing that emotional content during your sleep cycles, pulling you out of deep restorative sleep and into lighter fragmented cycles. The emotional quality of your pre-sleep input directly shapes the quality of your sleep architecture. What does work instead? What consistently works for the most rested, highest performing people is a deliberate wind-down ritual that includes something called cognitive offloading. That means getting the running mental to-do list out of your head and onto paper. Research from Baylor University found that people who spent just 5 minutes writing tomorrow's task list before bed fell asleep significantly faster than those who did not. The brain stops rehearsing when it feels heard. Give it somewhere to put those thoughts. Breathwork is another tool that is so simple it almost sounds too easy, but the physiology behind it is undeniable. A slow exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's rest and digest mode. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, you are literally telling your nervous system to downshift. 4 counts in, 6 to 8 counts out, repeated for just a few minutes, produces measurable changes in heart rate variability that prime the body for deep sleep. And here is something that almost nobody talks about. Consistency of wake time is more powerful than consistency of bedtime. Your circadian rhythm anchors itself to when you wake up. When you wake at the same time every day, including weekends, your body starts engineering the right sleepiness at the right time the night before. People who do this report that within 2 to 3 weeks their sleep quality transforms completely. Not because they took something or bought something, because they gave their internal clock a fixed reference point to work around. Now imagine waking up after actually sleeping. Not just lying in bed for 8 hours, but genuinely sleeping. Imagine the feeling of opening your eyes and not immediately dreading the day. Imagine your mind being sharp by 9 in the morning without fighting for it. Imagine your mood being stable enough that the small frustrations of daily life just roll off you instead of wrecking your whole afternoon. Imagine having the energy to actually be present with the people you love instead of just surviving until you can sit down again. That is not fantasy. That is what consistent, quality sleep does to a human being. People describe it as feeling like themselves again for the first time in years. That is what is waiting for you on the other side of this. The difference between people who get there and people who stay stuck is not intelligence. It is not willpower. It is having the right system, in the right sequence, with the right support behind it. If everything you just heard makes you feel like you want to go deeper and actually implement this properly, the programs in the video description were built exactly for that. They take everything you just learned and build it into a real, practical framework that works even when life is chaotic. People who go through them do not just sleep better. They show up differently in every part of their life. Do not wait until your body forces you to take this seriously. The time to move on this is right now, tonight, before another week slips by in the fog,